Her ex-fiancé shamed her publicly, until a millionaire stepped in and kissed her boldly. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support truly means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The ballroom lights glowed like warm champagne, shimmering across crystal glasses and polished marble floors. Guests in designer gowns drifted through the room with the confidence of people who had never worried about a bill in their lives. But Emily Carter stood near the back, gripping a small gift bag with both hands, wishing she could shrink into the wall behind her. She never wanted to be here. She had promised herself she would never step into her ex-fiancé's world again. But she had come only to return the engagement ring he had demanded back, the ring he said she did not deserve to keep. She had rehearsed her line all morning. "Here, I am returning what is yours." Simple, quick, no scene. But scenes had a way of finding her. Emily? Well, this is a surprise. Ryan's voice cut across the room like a blade. He was in a tailored navy suit, a perfect match to the perfectly practiced smirk he wore when he wanted people to feel small. His new fiancée, Madison, clung to his arm with a smile that never reached her eyes. Emily held the gift bag a little tighter. "Ryan, I just came to bring this back?" He reached in, lifted the ring, and held it up like a prop in a magic trick. "Everyone, this is the ring I bought when I thought she might actually keep up with my lifestyle." Laughter rippled through the nearby guests. Emily's cheeks burned, her throat tightened. She looked at the floor, wishing it would open and take her with it. She had known humiliation before, but never with this many witnesses, never with cameras discreetly recording every reaction. Ryan was still talking, loud enough for more people to turn and look. "Honestly, Emily, you should thank Madison. She showed me what a real partner looks like. Confidence, elegance, someone who actually belongs here." Belongs. That word hit harder than anything else. Emily forced herself to breathe, but the air felt thin. She wanted to walk away, but her legs would not move. She could hear people whispering about her thrift store dress, her low-paying job, the fact that she had the nerve to show her face here. Just when the noise around her swelled into something unbearable, a shift passed through the crowd. A presence, a quiet redirect of attention, like the air tightening before a storm breaks. A tall man in a charcoal suit stepped forward from the edge of the ballroom. Broad shoulders, steady gaze, dark hair brushed back with effortless precision. He did not look at Ryan. He looked only at Emily, as if the room had narrowed to just the two of them. "Excuse me," he said softly, but his voice carried. "I believe she was looking for me." Emily blinked. She had never seen him before. Her heart pounded. Ryan scoffed. "And who are you supposed to be?" The stranger ignored the question entirely. He closed the last few steps between them, and before Emily could form a single word, he placed his hand gently behind her back, lowered his head, and kissed her. Boldly, deliberately, in front of everyone. Gasps erupted across the ballroom. The music faltered. Someone dropped a glass. Emily froze, stunned. His lips were warm, his hold steady, not demanding but grounding, as if he was shielding her from the entire room. When he finally pulled back, he looked into her eyes with a calm certainty that made her breath catch. "You are with me," he said. Ryan's face drained of color, and for the first time that night, Emily felt the humiliation shift, no longer crushing her, but circling someone else entirely. She did not know who the stranger was. She did not know why he had chosen to step in, but every person in that ballroom would remember this moment, and so would she. The ballroom moment replayed in Emily's mind long after the kiss ended, long after the gasps faded, and long after the mysterious stranger led her away from the center of the room. Her heart was still pounding when they stepped into a quiet hallway, far from the glittering chandeliers and the humiliating spotlight she had just escaped. She finally found her voice. "Why did you do that?" Her words came out softer than she intended, half breath, half disbelief. The man did not look flustered at all. He adjusted the cuff of his charcoal suit with calm precision before meeting her eyes. His gaze was steady, almost warm. "Because you needed someone to stand with you," he said, and because what he did was unacceptable. Emily blinked. People did not usually defend her. They watched, they whispered, they judged. But this man had stepped directly into the fire without hesitation. "You do not even know me," she said. He gave a small, almost apologetic smile. "No, but I saw enough." Before she could respond, the door to the ballroom swung open. Ryan stormed out, anger cracking through every step. "What kind of stunt was that?" he snapped at the stranger. "You cannot just walk in and kiss random women to look like a hero." The man did not move. He did not raise his voice. He simply looked at Ryan the way someone might look at a buzzing mosquito. "Your behavior in there was cruel," he said, "and if you do not understand why, then that is exactly why someone had to stop you." Ryan scoffed. "Who do you think you are?" The man did not answer. He did not need to. The silence itself felt powerful. Emily stepped between them, her voice trembling but determined. "Ryan, just let it go. I came only to return the ring, that is all." Ryan's eyes darted between them, suspicion growing like mold. "Do not tell me you are with him now." "Seriously, Emily? You jump from a waitress to whoever this guy is." Emily felt her stomach twist, but before she could react, the man spoke again. "Walk away," he said, calm but firm. Ryan hesitated. Something in the stranger's tone made even him take a small step back. He muttered something under his breath and returned to the ballroom. When the door closed, the hallway fell quiet again. Emily turned to the man. "I should thank you. That could have gone much worse." "You do not need to thank me," he replied. "But you also do not deserve to be treated like that." He reached into his pocket and held out a small, folded handkerchief. Only then did she realize her eyes were still wet from earlier. She took it gently. "My name is Adrian," he said. "Adrian Hale." She froze. The name hit her like cold air. She knew that name. Everyone knew that name. Hale, as in Hale Global, as in the youngest real estate magnate in the state, as in the man who rarely appeared in public, and when he did, headlines followed. But before she could say anything, he spoke again, softer this time. "You do not have to worry," he said. "I am not here to complicate your night. I simply wanted to make sure you were all right." Emily swallowed hard. There was something different about him. He did not seem amused by the chaos or interested in playing the hero. He seemed sincere. She took a breath, steadying herself. "I think I should go home," she said. "I will walk you out," Adrian offered immediately. Normally she would refuse. Normally she would run. But tonight had already broken every rule she lived by. And for the first time since entering the ballroom, she felt strangely safe. As they headed toward the exit, Emily glanced at the man walking beside her. She still did not know why he had chosen to help her, but something told her this was only the beginning. And 15. Millionaire Vakogay Dachang, 39 Foot said. Emily barely remembered the drive home. The city lights blurred through the passenger window, while her thoughts spun faster than the passing streets. Adrian Hale, the man who stepped in for her tonight. The man whose name carried weight in every business newspaper and financial podcast. Yet he had walked beside her without a single trace of arrogance. When the car pulled up in front of her apartment building, she felt a faint flush of embarrassment. The place was old, the stair railings rusted, and the porch light flickered like it was tired of trying. She glanced at Adrian, suddenly self-conscious. "You really did not have to bring me all the way here," she said. "I wanted to make sure you got home safely," he answered. His tone was simple, matter of fact, as if the words required no explanation. For a moment, they sat in the quiet hum of the engine. Emily pushed the door open, clutching her small purse against her chest. "Thank you for what you did tonight. I do not think I will ever forget it." He nodded once. "If you ever need anything, Emily, anything at all, you can reach out." He handed her a business card. The card was heavy, clean, and embossed with silver lettering. She had never held something that elegant before. She hesitated. "I do not think I am someone who belongs in your world, Adrian." He looked at her with an expression she could not quite read. "Sometimes," he said, "you do not realize your worth because people around you have tried to tell you otherwise." Then he gave a small, almost reassuring smile. "Good night, Emily." She stepped out of the car. When she turned around to wave, he was still watching to make sure she made it inside. He did not leave until her apartment door clicked shut. Inside, the silence felt heavier than usual. Emily leaned against the door, letting out a long breath she had been holding since the ballroom. She placed the card on her tiny kitchen counter, the silver letters catching the dim light. She traced his name with her fingertip, Adrian Hale. It almost felt unreal. The next morning, the world did not care that her life had tilted a little. She still had to clock in for her shift at the cafe. The smell of roasted coffee beans, the clatter of mugs, and the endless line of customers grounded her back into the routine she knew well. "Rough night?" her coworker Linda whispered while steaming milk. "You have no idea," Emily muttered. But even as she said it, a small smile touched her lips. She kept seeing the moment he stepped between her and Ryan, the way he spoke with calm certainty, the way he treated her with dignity she was not used to receiving. Around lunchtime, the cafe door chimed. Emily turned automatically, menu pad in hand. The air seemed to shift, just slightly. Adrian walked in, not in a chauffeur-driven car, not in a designer coat, not with any entourage. Just him. Clean, understated, and entirely out of place in the cozy, worn-out cafe that smelled faintly of cinnamon and burnt espresso. Emily's breath caught. "Adrian?" He gave that same soft smile from the night before. "Good afternoon." Linda elbowed her lightly. "You know him?" Emily swallowed. "Something like that." Adrian stepped closer to the counter. "I did not mean to interrupt your work. I was in the area and thought I should check on you." Her face warmed. "I am fine, really." He glanced at the cafe tables, then back at her. "Would you have a moment to talk after your shift?" The question hung in the air longer than it should have. Emily nodded slowly. "Yes. I think I would like that." He left as quietly as he had entered, without drawing any attention to himself. But the moment the door closed behind him, Linda nearly dropped the milk pitcher. "Emily," she whispered, "who exactly is that man?" Emily looked down at the silver card tucked inside her apron, and for the first time, she wondered the same thing. Emily spent the rest of her shift in a strange mix of nerves and anticipation. Every time the doorbell chimed, she glanced up, half expecting Adrian to return early. He did not. He had meant what he said. He would wait until she finished work. That alone told her something about the kind of man he was. When the cafe finally closed, she stepped outside into the late afternoon sun. The light was soft, brushing gold across the sidewalk. Adrian stood beside a dark sedan, hands in his pockets, not impatient, not distracted, simply present. When he saw her, he straightened slightly. "Long day?" he asked. "Longer than usual," she admitted. "But I am here." He opened the passenger door for her, not with any grand gesture, but with quiet respect. Once they were on the road, he drove without rushing, giving her space to breathe. She expected him to take her to some high-rise office or an expensive restaurant, but instead he pulled into a small park overlooking the river. Families were picnicking, kids were tossing frisbees, dogs barked in the distance. It was the kind of place where the world felt softer. "I thought it might be easier to talk somewhere peaceful," he said. They walked along the path, the gravel crunching under their shoes. Emily spoke first. "Why did you come to the cafe today?" He glanced at her. "Because last night felt unfinished. I wanted to make sure you were doing well, without the noise of that ballroom." She appreciated the honesty. "I still do not understand why you stepped in for me at all." He was quiet for a moment before answering. "When I saw you standing there, trying to hold yourself together while people laughed, it reminded me of something I saw a long time ago. Someone I could not help then. I was not going to make that mistake twice." Emily slowed her steps. His tone carried weight, something personal, something he did not elaborate on. So she did not push him. Instead, she asked, "So what is this? What are we doing right now?" Adrian stopped beside the river railing. "We are having a conversation between two people who met under difficult circumstances." Then he added, almost gently, "And I would like to get to know you without the chaos of last night shaping everything." Emily looked down at the water. "You barely know me. I work at a cafe. I rent an apartment with a heater that only works when it feels like it. I am not someone who lives in your world." Adrian leaned on the railing beside her. "You talk about my world like it matters more than yours. It does not. Money changes comfort, not character." She felt a warmth rise in her chest, both unfamiliar and unsettling. People do not usually say things like that. They do not have to, he replied, but I do. A breeze lifted her hair, and she tucked a strand behind her ear. She realized she was smiling without meaning to. They continued walking until the path curved toward the quiet end of the park. Adrian slipped his hands back into his pockets, his voice low. Emily, I know yesterday was painful for you. Humiliation leaves a mark, but none of that was your fault. Ryan treated you poorly because that is who he is, not because of who you are. Emily felt her throat tighten. She had been waiting so long for someone to say those words, yet she never expected them from a man like Adrian. They reached a bench near the water. He gestured for her to sit. There is something else, he said. You should know that last night's incident, it is not over. Her heart skipped. What do you mean? There were cameras. There were guests recording. The story is already spreading. Not about you, he clarified quickly, but about me, and people are curious who you are. Emily stared at him, stunned. So I caused problems for you? No, he said firmly. You did nothing wrong, but you should be prepared. Attention has a way of finding me, even when I do not want it. She exhaled slowly. This is a lot. I know. His voice softened. That is why I wanted to talk today, to make sure you are not facing this alone. Emily looked at him, really looked at him, and saw not the powerful name or the polished exterior, but a man offering sincerity without strings. Thank you, she said quietly. He held her gaze, steady and warm. This is only the beginning, Emily, and whatever comes next, I will help you face it. A ripple of something deep and unfamiliar moved through her chest. For the first time since the ballroom, she felt hope. N15, Millionaire ba cô gái da trắng, 39 phút, said. Emily sat on the park bench long after the breeze settled, long after the sun dipped lower behind the trees. She was quiet, trying to make sense of everything Adrian had said. The world she knew felt small, familiar, predictable. The world he lived in felt impossibly large, full of consequences she had never imagined facing. Adrian watched her carefully, not pushing, not rushing. If this feels overwhelming, he said, you can tell me. I will not take it personally. It is not you, she answered. It is the attention. I have never had strangers look at me, let alone judge me online. I do not know how to exist in that space. You do not have to worry about strangers, Adrian replied. They will move on. They always do. What matters is that you stay grounded in what is real. She looked at him. And what is real right now? He held her gaze for a long second. You. What happened to you? And the fact that you deserve better than being torn apart for someone else's entertainment. Emily did not know what to say. It had been years since anyone had spoken to her with that kind of certainty. But before she could respond, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at the screen. Messages. Dozens of them. From coworkers, from acquaintances, even from numbers she did not recognize. Her stomach tightened. Let me guess, Adrian said softly. People are asking questions. She nodded. They want to know who you are. They want to know if the kiss was real. They want to know if we are something. Her voice drifted off. Adrian did not look surprised. People fill in their own stories when they do not have answers. Emily put the phone away quickly, almost as if it burned. This is exactly what I was afraid of. I do not want to be in anyone's spotlight. I understand, he said, but you are not alone in this. He stood from the bench, then extended his hand. Come with me. There is someone you should talk to. Someone who can help you manage what happens next. Emily hesitated before taking his hand. The warmth of his touch steadied her. He led her back to the car and drove toward the city. The atmosphere shifted as buildings grew taller and traffic thickened. When they pulled into a quiet block near the riverfront, Emily realized they were outside a brick building with wide windows and soft lighting. What is this place? She asked. It is a community center, Adrian said. It is called Riverside Haven. I helped fund it a few years ago. They specialize in supporting people who have gone through public embarrassment or online harassment. They help with counseling, media pressure, and self-worth rebuilding. Nothing about what happened to you is unusual for them. Emily stared at him. You built this? I built the funding, he corrected gently. The people inside built the heart. He opened the door and guided her inside. The lobby was quiet, decorated with soft colors and photographs of former clients. A woman at the front desk smiled warmly at them. "Good evening, Adrian," she said. "Who is your friend?" "A friend who had a difficult experience last night," he replied. "She may need someone to talk to." The woman nodded with understanding, as if she had seen 100 broken nights walk through the door. "Would you be comfortable speaking with one of our counselors?" Adrian asked her. Emily took a slow breath. She did not like the idea of airing her pain to strangers, but she also knew she could not keep pretending everything was normal. "Yes," she said quietly. "I think I would." Adrian walked her to a small waiting area. Before she stepped inside, he gently touched her elbow. "Emily," he said, "you are not weak for needing help. You are strong for choosing it." Her throat tightened. She managed a small nod and entered the room. For the first time since the ballroom humiliation, she felt a flicker of calm settle in her chest. Outside, through the glass window, she could see Adrian waiting in the hallway. Not hovering, not demanding, just standing there, steady as a lighthouse. He had saved her dignity once. Now he was helping her save herself, and she did not know why this man cared so much, but she wanted to find out. Emily spent nearly an hour inside the quiet counseling room of Riverside Haven. The walls were lined with soft beige tones, and the gentle sound of flowing water from a small fountain in the corner helped her breathe more easily. She had not planned to open up, but the counselor, a calm woman named Marlene, listened without judgment. Not once did she flinch at the retelling of the ballroom humiliation, the kiss that changed everything, or the sudden spotlight she never asked for. When the session ended, Marlene handed her a small card with grounding exercises. "You are not defined by what happened to you," she said. "You are defined by what you choose next." Emily stepped back into the hallway feeling lighter, but also strangely raw, as if the truth had peeled away a layer she had been hiding behind for years. Adrian was still there. He stood near the window, hands in his pockets, looking out toward the river. The setting sun reflected against the glass, turning him into a silhouette. When he noticed her, he straightened immediately. "How was it?" he asked. Emily exhaled. "Hard, but helpful. I think I needed it more than I realized." "I am glad," he said. There was genuine relief in his voice. No one should have to face something like that alone. They walked out of Riverside Haven together, the early evening air cool against their skin. Streetlights flickered on, casting warm circles on the pavement. Emily hugged her arms around herself. "Do you deal with this kind of pressure often? Cameras, rumors, people watching everything you do?" Adrian gave a quiet, humorless laugh. "More often than I would like. It comes with the territory. Wealth attracts attention. Influence attracts speculation. People think they know your story, and they fill in the rest with whatever entertains them." "That sounds exhausting," she said. "It is," he admitted. "But it is easier when you know who you are outside of the noise." Emily thought about that. She had spent years letting other people's opinions shape her reflection. One cruel comment from Ryan, one comparison to a wealthier woman, had been enough to make her doubt everything she was. But sitting in that counseling room made her realize something. She had allowed herself to shrink, and Adrian, without pushing, was helping her unlearn that. They reached his car, but this time he did not open the door right away. Instead, he leaned back against the side of the vehicle, looking at her with a seriousness she had not seen before. "Emily, I want to be honest with you about something," he said. "What happened last night, the attention has grown. People have started asking about you. Reporters have contacted my office. Someone even tried to approach your workplace earlier today." Emily felt her breath catch. "What? Why?" "Because they want a story," Adrian said. "A headline. A mystery girl who kissed a Hale." She shook her head. "I did not ask for any of this." "I know," he said gently. "That is why I am telling you now, before it becomes bigger. I want you to be prepared." Her hands trembled, and she wrapped her arms tighter around herself. "What am I supposed to do?" "First," Adrian said, "you do not panic. Second, you let me help protect your privacy." "How?" she asked. "I have a public relations team," he said. "They can redirect attention, shut down speculation, and keep your name out of tabloids. But I will not involve them unless you want me to." Emily stared at him. He was giving her a choice, not taking one away. That alone was surprising. She drew a slow breath. What do you want me to do? Adrian stepped closer, not crowding her, but anchoring the moment. I want you to think about what is best for you. Not for me. Not for strangers online. For you. His voice was steady, almost quiet. You deserve to feel safe, Emily, and I will help you however you choose, but the choice must be yours. Her heart beat in a deep, slow rhythm. She had spent years being talked over, dismissed and minimized. Now someone was asking for her decision, waiting for her answer, respecting her enough to step back. She lifted her chin, meeting his eyes. I think, she said carefully, I want your help. Relief softened his expression. Then you will have it. A breeze moved between them, lifting Emily's hair as the sky turned deeper shades of blue. For the first time since the humiliation that shattered her confidence, she felt the ground settling beneath her feet again. She was not alone, and whatever storm was coming next, Adrian would be standing beside her. Number 15. Millionaire vakogay da chang, 39 foot, said. Emily did not sleep much that night. Even after Adrian dropped her off and assured her that his team would discreetly manage the rising attention, her mind kept looping through every possibility. What would people say? What would her coworkers think? Would Ryan try to twist the story even further? But when morning came, she forced herself out of bed. She had survived worse. She would face this too. At the cafe, the shift started normally, but the atmosphere felt different. Conversations hushed when she walked by. A few customers stole quick glances at her. Linda approached carefully. Emily, there were reporters outside earlier. They left, but only after our manager threatened to call the police. Emily's pulse quickened. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Linda placed a reassuring hand on her arm. You did nothing wrong. Do not let them make you feel small. Emily nodded, but inside, panic tightened her chest. She tried to focus on steaming milk, taking orders, wiping counters, but every time the door chimed, her whole body tensed. Around midday, a tall man in a gray suit approached the counter. He was older, neatly groomed, with a measured expression that carried authority. He spoke quietly, but his voice held a certain weight. Excuse me, are you Emily Carter? Emily stiffened. Yes, but I am working right now. I understand, he said, offering a polite smile. My name is Douglas. I am part of Adrian Hale's communications team. He asked me to check on you. Emily blinked, surprised. He sent you here? Yes. He wanted to make sure you were safe and not being pressured. Douglas paused, lowering his voice. There are photographers circling the block. They believe you will eventually come outside. Her stomach dropped. You mean they are waiting for me? Yes, Douglas said gently. Which is why we would prefer to escort you out through a side exit when your shift is over. Emily took a slow breath. I did not want any of this. I know, he said. That is why Adrian is trying to shield you from as much of it as possible. For a moment, Emily felt an unexpected wave of relief. She was not facing this alone. Someone was looking out for her, and not for publicity or convenience, but because he genuinely cared. When her shift ended, Douglas guided her through the back hallway and out a discreet exit behind the building. A black sedan waited there, engine running. The tinted window lowered, revealing Adrian in the passenger seat. Emily, he said, his voice steady. Are you all right? She climbed in, closing the door quickly as Douglas circled to the driver's seat. It was overwhelming, she admitted. People were looking at me all day. Reporters came by. I feel like I cannot breathe without someone watching. Adrian's expression softened. I am sorry you had to deal with that. I should have anticipated it sooner. You did, she said. You sent help. I will always send help, he replied. The sincerity in his voice caught her off guard. It felt like a promise, one she did not entirely know how to accept yet, but she felt the truth in it. As the car pulled away from the curb, leaving the cluster of waiting cameras behind, Emily finally allowed herself to inhale fully. This storm was not over, but with Adrian beside her, she no longer felt like she would be swept away by it. 15. Millionaire vakogay da chang, 39 foot said. Douglas drove smoothly, keeping distance from the main roads where reporters might still be waiting. Emily sat in the back seat beside Adrian, trying to steady her breathing. The farther they moved from the cafe, the more the tension in her shoulders eased. Adrian watched her carefully, not intrusively, but with the quiet concern of someone who understood how frightening unwanted attention could be. "I am taking you somewhere private," Adrian said. "Somewhere no one will bother you." Emily nodded. She trusted him more than she expected to. After a few turns, the car entered a quiet residential street, lined with large trees and homes set far back from the road. They stopped not at a mansion or estate, but at a modern townhouse with warm lights glowing through tall windows. "This is one of my properties," Adrian explained. "Not public, not listed. No one outside my team knows I am here when I stay at this one. It is safe." Douglas opened the door for Emily, and she stepped out into the quiet evening. The air felt calmer here, untouched by cameras, gossip, or judgment. Inside, the home was spacious but not overwhelming. Soft earth tones filled the living area, and a large abstract painting hung above the fireplace. It felt intentionally peaceful. "Sit wherever you like," Adrian said. "You look like you need a moment to breathe." Emily lowered herself onto the edge of a couch, hands clasped together. "I do not understand how this became so big. I thought it would all fade." Adrian sat across from her, elbows resting on his knees. "Attention grows fastest when there is no clarity. People are trying to guess your relationship to me. Some are framing it as a scandal, some as a mystery romance. My office wants to make a statement, but I refused. I did not want to give the media your name." Emily's eyes widened. "You protected my identity." "Yes," he said simply. "It is not their right to know you." Those words warmed her in a way she had not expected. For so long, she'd been treated like someone disposable, someone easily replaced. But Adrian was choosing, deliberately, to shield her. She took a breath. "So what do we do next?" "There are two paths," he said. "We either work to redirect attention away from you completely, or we address it head-on with a statement from me alone, one that protects you and stops speculation." "And which would you recommend?" Emily asked. Adrian hesitated before answering. "The first option is safer for you. The second is more effective but riskier because it draws more eyes temporarily." Emily looked down at her hands. Her life had never required these kinds of decisions. She worried she would choose wrong, that she would somehow make things worse. Sensing her hesitation, Adrian's voice softened. "Whatever you decide, I will handle the consequences. You will not face anything alone." She met his gaze. There was no pressure in his eyes, only sincerity. It steadied her. "Then," Emily said slowly, "I think I want the attention redirected away from me. I want my life back. I want normal." Adrian nodded. "Then that is exactly what we will do." It was the certainty in his tone that eased her fear. The situation was still overwhelming, but she felt a strange clarity settling in. She trusted him. As Douglas stepped into a separate room to begin the necessary calls, Emily looked around the quiet townhouse, a place she never imagined she would step into, a place where she felt unexpectedly safe. For the first time since the humiliation that started everything, she felt the possibility of reclaiming who she had been before, and maybe, just maybe, becoming someone stronger. Emily sat quietly while Douglas completed the calls that would begin redirecting the unwanted attention. The tension in her chest slowly loosened as the reality settled in. She was finally getting space to breathe. When Douglas returned, he gave Adrian a brief nod. "It is handled," he said. "The media will shift focus within 24 hours. Her name will not appear anywhere." Emily felt her shoulders sag with relief. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft but sincere. Douglas excused himself, leaving her alone with Adrian in the calm, warm light of the townhouse. For the first time since everything began, the silence between them felt peaceful instead of uncertain. "You did not have to do all of this for me," she said quietly. Adrian shook his head. "I did it because you deserve to be protected. What happened to you should never have happened, and I will not let anyone turn your pain into entertainment." She looked at him, really looked, seeing past the controlled composure to the man who had stepped through a loud, judgmental ballroom just to shield her. "I am grateful," she said, "more than you know." He moved a little closer, careful not to cross her boundaries. "Emily, everything that spiraled from that kiss was never my intention, but I do not regret helping you." She felt warmth rise in her chest. "I do not regret it either." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The room felt suspended in a gentle stillness. Then Adrian reached into his jacket pocket and held out the handkerchief she had used the night before, freshly washed and folded. "You left this in my car," he said. "I thought you might want it back." Emily took it, her fingertips brushing his. The simple gesture went straight to her heart, a small reminder of the moment he chose to stand beside her when no one else did. "Thank you," she whispered. Adrian's voice softened. "Emily, whatever comes after this, I want it to be on your terms. If you want space, I will give it. If you want support, I am here. If you want to walk forward together, I would like that too." Her breath caught. He was not assuming, he was offering. And after everything, she realized she wanted something too. Not escape, not hiding, but a new beginning built on dignity and truth. She stepped a little closer. "I would like to see where this goes," she said. A slow, relieved smile touched his lips. Outside the window, the last light of evening faded, giving way to a calmer night. Emily felt it shift inside her too, the sense that the storm had finally passed, and in its place came something gentler, something real. Adrian extended his hand, not as a rescuer, not as a millionaire, but as a man choosing her. And for the first time in a long time, Emily walked toward a future she was not afraid of.